both of you. It's nice to see both of you. It's weird to see you both in a virtual room again. Not that long ago we did this one. I thought I'd wear my shirt today from when we did our lovely Valorant match. I know that Brian's still having nightmares about it. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Thank you very much, Brian. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys because I don't think I need to give any introduction to the pair of you. You've been at the forefront of esports research for so long in relation to this. You were two of the founder members. So the floor is all yours. Good luck and have fun.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, I have a hoodie on, so not the beautiful jersey we all got. But yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a chat about that. And yeah, I'm Tobias Scholz from the University of Agder, and my colleague Brian is doing a short introduction as well.
Yeah, and I'm here at Jönköping International Business School, and we are the founding chair and vice chair of the Esports Research Network. So it's very kind of other people to organize events because I've done it a couple of times, and I do appreciate the effort that everyone has done. So congratulations, everyone, and thank God it's not me doing it this time.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who is involved. I saw what UNSW was doing, what Staffordshire is doing, what Michigan State is doing, and Slippery Rock, and especially Steph Jenny, who is doing the brunt of the work. But yeah, we want to talk about sustainability. And again, a mouthful of a title. Sustainable esports to develop interdisciplinary solutions for challenges in the AI-mediated digital transformation of society. Always fun to do that with a native speaker. And this is a paper that hopefully soon will be published, so look out for that. And yeah, we will talk about sustainability and why. I mean, throughout the last 2 days, we heard a lot of things where how to tackle social sustainability, how to tackle economical sustainability. And I do not think that there was so much on environmental, but all of those topics become more and more increasingly relevant. And we wanted to do a little bit of a recap what happened in the last 2 or 3 years, especially post-COVID, after everybody had their hype, and now everybody is in a depressive winter mode. So, but also the idea of the whole AI transformation is showcasing an urgency that we are talking about those things. And we had several talks throughout the days that had AI as a topic. And this is something where we look on or revisit the development in the recent times and look how or what we should research in the future. And that's something and that's the cornerstone of the ERN network. We see esports as a future lab for the digital society. So looking at esports can help to solve the bigger issues in the digital society. And this is something which also became quite evident in the last 2 days. Yeah, so the core argument, I already said a little bit about that. Esports sits at the intersection of social sustainability, community, identity, and inclusion, economic sustainability, business viability, value distribution, and environmental sustainability, ecological footprint, and cultural influence. And that is something where we also now added to it AI-mediated education. We see AI lurking everywhere in our education, be it teacher using it and students are using it to the point where at the end ChatGPT is talking with ChatGPT. But that's the part to digital citizenship. And this is something why esports can model a sustainable digital future, and we can use the things we are learning from it in the digital society in the broader perspective. I mean, that topic is something where Brian and I are involved for a long time, be it the paper in 2022, current issues of sustainability in esports in the International Journal of Esports, as well as a special issue we did in the Journal of Electronic Gaming and Esports on several topics where we also tried to broaden the discussion. And
Well,
yeah,
even Toby, even on those journals have come about since the foundation of the Esport Research Network, and were, as part of sustainability of the research of esports itself, was to develop outlets dedicated to the topic.
yeah, absolutely. And that's also a cool thing where that evolved out of a lot of that esports research that emerged in the last 5 years. But yeah, what we saw, and we looked into several other articles that tackled the sustainability topic, that there is more attention to that topic, and also more and more institutional recognition. We do see more and more projects that are trying to tackle sustainability. But yeah, it is still something where we are in an esports winter, so technically we can definitely say economic sustainability, we are still far away from it. And the instability continues. We have all of those discussions where someone is buying up esports. We see a centralization in Saudi Arabia. China is still a big player. So that is something as well. Online toxicity, we talk a lot about it, and there were several presentations, especially tonight in my time zone, from the UNSW hub. We're talking about it, and topics were like, okay, what is hostile behavior? How do we deal with it? There is a lot of things that are happening. Same with the environmental efforts. We all know even our devices. Take any GeForce card, it takes a lot of energy. If you're thinking about people traveling, thinking about the data centers and everything, that is something where actually not really much environmental sustainability is actually happening. So it's largely symbolic. And that is something as well where AI reshapes education. We see an increase in reliance on AI as well as reduced digital literacy. And this is an interesting behavior where, or development where we see, especially with esports people being a little bit more native to technology, they are at the forefront of AI and how they are dealing with education. And I do believe many of you have this issue where like your students are putting everything in AI and submitting it without even looking at it. So there are a lot of topics we have to deal with there. But I want to go a little bit more in detail on the several pillars, focusing first on the social sustainability. We still see, and that is something the literature also showcased, the topic of digital heritage. So esports histories are at risk. If a server goes down, the history is removed. That is something you see also in game history. But also if you think about all the platforms that are saving the information we have about events. Think about the idea if Liquipedia would go down. Hopefully someone saved it. And that is something as well where we also see, if you think about the early 2000s, we might know who won a tournament, but at the same time, we have no idea who was the second one, who was part of the team, how high did they win. So a lot of information is already missing. If you compare that to baseball, which started in the 50s with their yearbooks that are that thick with a lot of data in there, and that is something where we have to deal with that, and especially inclusion, diversity. We do see some isolated breakthroughs, but again, I mean, if you think about the idea ESL impact, lovely story, is shutting down. Suddenly we are without a Counter-Strike women series. And that is something as well where there is slow systemic change and there is ongoing toxicity. But we want to add here as well, there is a stark amount of burnouts everywhere. The talk before, the presentation before, talking about the coach being a mentor role. That is something as well where who is taking care of the coach? We had a couple psychologists in presenting stuff. So there is a lot of things that are happening there. We have examples like Fluorescent from Apex that was playing on the highest tier 1 level in Valorant. Sadly, she quit and moved back to Canada. That was too big of a culture shock for her to move from Canada to Germany. Understandable. Imperial fee. So there is some stuff happening, and there are grassroots projects. Game On, something we are doing, where we are connecting esports with people who are having some struggle in society. But that is the key challenge. How we move from symbolic to structural inclusion? How do we create structures that are helping there? And yeah, economic sustainability. My background is business, and those who read my book, I could talk hours about that. But it is something where we still have this volatile revenue model where the sponsor is still one of the biggest entity or stakeholder that gives money. Yeah, and if there is a crisis or we go in a recession, yeah, the first thing that goes is that stuff. And this is something where that revenue model does not work. We technically know that since the beginning of esports, but we still step into that era because it is, if there is a hype phase, it is easy. And we also see a gap between grassroots and professional tiers. Currently, definitely something where we see, if you look at tier 2 level in games like Valorant, it's literally dying. Teams left and right are quitting. Teams are not able to grow at all. And in some systems are not able to even have a chance to become tier 1. And tier 3, yeah, sometimes not even existing at all. And yeah, we have this publisher dependency and the reliance on the resilience of the ecosystem is not strong. And that is something where we need to at least think about the idea of a distribution between the stakeholders, but also the distribution of values. So what we see is esports experience economy, where a lot of things are happening, where focus on the experience, but also the idea of including company esports. Just recently, I think 1 month ago, Team Liquid had a company clash in Utrecht, and teams from TSMC and SAP were playing against each other, and some players from Team Liquid were commentating and all. A real interesting B2B engagement. They were talking with each other. So there are options to diversify your portfolio. And yeah, creator first branding, diversified media verticals, teams like Carmine Corp, in Germany, Eintracht Spandau, For example, Eintracht Spandau recently released a South Park episode in collaboration with Comedy Central. Really hilarious, sadly, completely in German. I do hope at some point they will at least give some English subtitles. So that is something where we have that issue. And we also have the environmental sustainability. A lot of international event travel, and yeah, the hardware production, rapid replacement cycles. It always needs to be the newest GeForce. Technically not, but they want to sell their newest devices. So that is something where we have some issues there. And also the server and streaming energy consumption, where we do not know the data in detail, how much it actually consumes. And that is something where we see only symbolic sustainability efforts, but especially also a lack of reporting frameworks. And that is an issue or risk in itself, because I think in 2027 or 8, a lot of companies in Europe are required to do a sustainability report, and that includes those organizations that they sponsor. So I don't know who is in esports prepared for that, but I do think not many. And yeah, the idea of longitudinal measurements. So it is something where it might be cool to use esports as a cultural sustainability influencer. People are following the players, so there is some possibilities to do, and there is some ideas where you can do a game narrative design. I know FlyQuest did something where if you use some certain hero and that hero does something, they are planting a tree. So there are a lot of ideas there. There's a German insurance company that donated money in alignment of the healing of a certain hero. So there are a lot of ideas. And that is something as well with coming closely to an end, the role of AI in education. So AI is changing everything. We know that, but that is something where we have to think about critical thinking and digital agency. And that is something where we have this cognitive outsourcing to AI system. And that is something where, in theory, esports offers real-time decision-making, collaborative problem-solving, and digital citizenship training. Something like that. But it is something where we have to use that. I see it with a lot of esports people. They are not able to transfer that. So they have good skills in League of Legends, not so good in real life, and that is our mission we have to do. So that is something where we propose this research agenda. So social sustainability, topics like digital heritage, inclusive governance, and community well-being. So not only look at the pro players, but everybody in the system. And I'm definitely looking at all the psychologists that are doing a wonderful job, and by doing that, burning out. And yeah, for the economic sustainability, hybrid business models. We see in sports that most of the sports business models do not work. They get a lot of money from the government or from the Saudis or someone else. It's not working. And in esports, it seems to not work as well. So how do we get to the point where we are distributing the value? And a few make money, but the majority don't. And how do we re-link to the grassroots? That is probably the most important part, where some community building happens, and that might make money in itself. And yeah, the environmental sustainability, life cycle, sustainable event models, and do the messaging for culture. And yeah, that is something where we see the interdisciplinary impact in esports in education, civic participation, and using esports for AI literacy. And that is something where it does matter for beyond for esports. Esports is a future lab for the youth digital culture. Kids are playing. We have to think about mobile esports, but kids are playing. and we are able to create new learning ecosystem, and they are hybrid social spaces. So places where they can play. A lot of universities have an esports lab. More and more schools have it. In Norway, a lot of libraries have it. So there is a lot of things that can be done. And that is the part where we have to think about the governance in itself, how to deal with that. So key takeaway, a platform for skill development, a community inclusion, and a cultural influencer for sustainability values, and a model for digital era governance. But only if sustainability becomes a core strategic priority, not an afterthought. And maybe it's not all bad when AI automates work. Perhaps what remains most valued are play, collaboration, creativity, and community. And esports, that's already training exactly those things. So if we are all replaced, we can play around, and therefore, good luck and have fun.
Hello, there you go, back to me. Very, very good presentation, as per usual. Thank you very much, Brian and Toby. We have one question, and it's from me, and this is a question that I want to get your both perspectives on, because I don't know how much you would have seen this in the last week or so. We've been in the UK, had a new expo enter the scene, which is sponsored by a range of different people and partnered with a range of different people, to the Moon Expo. Which was meant to be the Return of Insomnia, Part 2, because it was in the same location, which used heavily AI. And I don't know if you've seen the social media output of it in the last week, but this is one of the dangers of AI being used to show an event or bring in that community aspect, right? Try to build a community. And then what AI does in terms of expectation versus reality. So I wondered if you could give some inputs on expectation and reality and how we can sort of maximize the return of the use of AI for benefit. Realistically, I know there's a lot of negatives around it, but without overcompensating and destroying community value.
Well, the big thing that drove this is the impact of AI. I have a stepson, he's 9, and I'm seeing the impacts of stuff on people. And we don't teach media literacy well enough in a lot of countries, and people are getting pulled into algorithms and AI slop, and they're not able to critically think. So the broader picture of what we're kind of saying is in line with the EU resolution on using esports and games is we go where they are. You can't say stop playing games and read a book, right? It's just, we should be able to do that, but we can't. And games are great, but we need to leverage where the younger people are to actually look at the skills they need to actually be able to discern between AI slop and fact and fiction and fake news and non-fake news. And this is the broader scope of what we're saying, is that we can all be siloed and we can all talk about this and that, but until we get actual interdisciplinary outcomes and longitudinal trials, everything's just going to keep not hitting the problems, the education in school around this. I mean, it's actually quite scary, the impact AI and is having on people and what they're believing. And the thing is that, we're Gen X or millennials, and we're more tech savvy than Gen Z. We're tech literate, and they're tech dependent, and they don't think about algorithms. And, esports in a place where they're actually having fun and enjoying and being social in an era when you can have an AI girlfriend or boyfriend or several without cheating. I mean, we need the actual, to embed the social aspects of real esports and digital play together, to provide a platform to actually educate, to coach, to mentor, to actually take the opportunity to not just the 21st century skills, but to leverage that to do wider education about stuff, about how AI is, and especially in an era when Gen Z are seeing AI is actually lowering the graduate job market and AI CVs. There's just so much stuff going on. So our argument is really that we need to take advantage of the social, the community, the educational capacity in an era when AI is having such, if not just the actual measurable impact on the economy and stuff, it's the worry. I talk to students. They're stressed about stuff, and what we have in esports is a very good basis to actually create positive impact in the world. And we need to stop thinking about beyond our little silos of expertise and start connecting them in meaningful ways. So I didn't know about the Moon Expo. I haven't had the time to see that, but I understand what you're saying, and it's. You don't want to study game development now when Elon Musk is promising Grand Theft Auto 7 in AI form on your phone in a year's time, and it's equivalent. So that's what we're trying to say with this. It's just that everyone who's presented at this conference been so many great presentations, but people need to start intersecting these in interdisciplinary ways and looking at solutions, leveraging our expertise, actually activating what people are coming up with, and move beyond the publication, the citations, and actually start doing stuff, because it is an opportunity. And that first paper on sustainability, which was based on the first symposium I held here, was that industry are willing to engage with academics in our arena, and they do it. We all collaborate with industry very heavily, and that is an opportunity to actually get stuff actually happening. And that's what it is about, is that stuff is going down, things are happening, people are stressed, and why can't we leverage this amazing context that we have in order to try have a positive impact? Sorry for pontificating, which is a great word.
Yeah, just shortly, because time and stuff. I proposed at my university going back to the Humboldtian ideals, where technically the university in the 19th century, where you are thinking, and that's the only part you're thinking about, where you are understanding and talking about and discussing. And I have a masterclass about platformization of society, and technically we are only talking and criticizing, and that's the critical thinking we have to do, because as you say, there is cool potential in AI if you are actually using it and understanding it. Like take programming. A good programmer using AI is a brilliant programmer. A bad programmer with AI is still a bad programmer.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you very much, Brian. Just a few points before we go to a quick intermission, because we're going quick on time. Great answers as per usual. I'm still not a Gen X or a millennial, by the way. I'm still Gen Z. Just to remind you that I know I look like I'm about 10 years older than you, Brian, but it makes me feel a little bit better.
It actually depends on the definition. I'm Gen X according to Toby's dad.
It was a fantastic talk, as per usual. But one thing that I just wanted to highlight too, we obviously teach a lot of students in Staffordshire in esports, but I think Gen Z, or the students who are coming up now, are actually much more conscious and much more against AI than what I see in terms of millennials. I am just on the cusp, really, between millennials and Gen Z. I'm 2 months out in relation to what is classified by the Gregorian calendar anyway of being a millennial. So yeah, it's wonderful to see some of the sort of fight back against it, but also realizing that they're going to have to work with it. And I think using practical-based tasks, getting people real-world experience, and getting people out there understanding the field is so important. So that is a great way to sort of end this bit. Thank you very much, both of you. I'm sure Toby will be around on chat asking a million questions unless